Everyone tells you to fill your mind. More skills, more goals, more plans. But no one tells you what happens when a full mind stops working. This story doesn't begin with success. It begins with exhaustion. Not the dramatic kind. The quiet kind. The kind that shows up when you're doing everything right and still falling behind. Right now, attention is the most expensive resource on earth. More valuable than oil, more scarce than money, and most people are spending it like it's free. This matters now because the system around you is designed to never let your mind rest. And a crowded mind doesn't think clearly. It reacts. It obeys. It buys. This is the story of how that happens, what empty your mind actually means. Years ago, a young analyst starts his day at 6:30 a.m. Before breakfast, he checks the markets. Before brushing his teeth, he checks messages. By the time he leaves home, his brain has already made hundreds of none of them important, all of them expensive. This isn't a personal failure, it's structural. Here's how the system works. Your brain has a limited daily decision budget. Neuroscience estimates it in the thousands, not millions. Every notification, headline, and opinion spends a little of it. Platforms know this. So do advertisers. So do financial institutions. That's why news cycles move faster than facts. Why outrage is louder than analysis. Why advice is constant, but clarity is rare. A full mind feels productive, but it's often just busy. Now comes the uncomfortable part. When your mind is overloaded, you default to shortcuts. You follow trends. You trust authority. You accept simple stories over accurate ones. In finance, that means buying at the top, selling at the bottom, chasing certainty where none exists. In life, it means confusing movement with progress. There's an old story from a small village. A professor visits a local teacher, known for wisdom. The professor talks endlessly. Theories, frameworks, credentials. The teacher pours tea. The cup fills, then overflows. The professor protests. The teacher says nothing. Eventually, the message lands. But here's the part people miss. The story isn't about humility. It's about capacity. An overfilled system can't receive new information. It can only spill. Modern economics works the same way. When markets are calm, people think clearly. When markets are noisy, they copy each other. Noise increases confidence while reducing accuracy. That's not a metaphor. That's data. Studies show traders exposed to more information trade more frequently and perform worse. More input, less output. The irony is brutal. The same tools sold as empowerment often reduce agency. Now compare public hype to underlying reality. Public message, stay informed. Reality, stay stimulated. Public message, knowledge is power. Reality, attention is profit. Public message, hustle harder. Reality, think less. This isn't a conspiracy. It's incentives. Platforms are rewarded for time spent, not clarity gained. Financial products are rewarded for activity, not outcomes. Even motivation content is rewarded for emotion, not usefulness. So the system doesn't want an empty mind. It wants an occupied one. Because an empty mind asks better questions. It pauses before reacting. It notices gaps. It sees second-order effects. A crowded mind doesn't analyze. It scrolls. This is where the story turns. The analyst notices something strange. On days when he consumes less information, his decisions improve. Not faster. Better. He misses fewer trades. Epinics, less he sees patterns others overlook. Nothing mystical happens. No revelation, just subtraction. He stops checking prices every hour. Stops reading every opinion. Stops mistaking volume for insight. His mind becomes quieter. Not empty of thought, but empty of noise. That's the distinction most people miss. Empty your mind doesn't mean stop thinking. It means remove the clutter that thinks for you. There's a long-term risk here if we don't understand this. A society trained to constantly consume information becomes incapable of judgment. It reacts faster but understands less. It feels informed but acts blindly. Financial bubbles thrive in full minds. So do political extremes. So does burnout. History shows this pattern repeating. Before major crashes, information increases. Certainty increases. Confidence increases, clarity decreases. The most dangerous moment isn't ignorance, it's overstimulation. So here's the unresolved question this story leaves behind. If your thoughts are always occupied, if your attention is always rented, if silence feels uncomfortable, whose decisions are you really making? And what might you finally notice if your mind had a little space to breathe?